Okay, so one of the most painful parts of this process is realizing that you made a huge mistake. And I think I've made a big mistake. Now I've mounted the motor in, I fabricated these motor mounts, and I think I did a pretty, strong job of it in terms of they're pretty secure. They definitely took a couple of full days worth of work to put in there. And the motor is level, it's straight, and everything should be fine, except one little detail. And that is, I didn't leave enough room for the brake master cylinder and the brake booster. So, brake booster, which comes out of here, even with the smallest possible one, which actually would be an iBooster Tesla style, which is a pretty good option. I need 9 inches of clearance from the firewall, and I've got almost that, except that it only to this point, it actually needs to come down and it'll interfere with the actual motor body. So, yeah, it's not gonna work. So, what does that mean? I think that means that I have to take the motor out and I need to cut my motor mounts off. I need to refabricate them and re-weld them in and move everything forward by at least 1.5 inches. This is an iBooster. So specifically, it's an iBooster 2nd generation. It came out of a Honda CR-V, probably 2020, 2021, probably hybrid. And what it is it's an electronic brake booster to replace the vacuum brake booster that was in this car. So the way that the iBooster works is that instead of using vacuum pressure to help assist power the push rod that comes from the brake pedal, what this does is it has a sensor right down in here that can sense how much pressure you're putting on the brake pedal by how hard you're pushing on this push rod. And then based on that amount of pressure, it then sends a signal up into this unit that then translates to this motor. This motor turns and spins a gear that is attached to the center of the rod, running down into the master cylinder here. And it just gives a lot of extra mechanical pressure onto the push rod into the master cylinder. It's really a very dependable device, so it's pretty slick. And it does have the benefit of being shorter than the previous master cylinder by about 2 inches. It also has the benefit of being much, much quieter than having a vacuum pump under the hood. I brought it in today to check something, and this may be a problem. Now I've got the motor situated on the motor mounts that I put in, and this is what I suspected. I did not leave enough room for this to fit in between the firewall and the motor. I think that means I have to cut out my motor mounts and do them again. I don't really see any way around it. This is a lot shorter than the master cylinder that came out of the Honda. So even if I went the route of getting a vacuum pump and installing that, I still couldn't fit the original master cylinder back in here. It's just a screw up. It's a sucky screw up because I put a lot of work into building those motor mounts, and I think I have to cut them out and start from scratch. But it's kind of the way this project works. You know, it's a learning process, and you make big mistakes, and sometimes you have to spend a lot of time fixing those mistakes. I'm trying to look on the bright side of that, which is that after I got these motor mounts installed, welded in place, I mounted the motor. I was satisfied that it was all straight. I was satisfied that they were strong. They're not quite as pretty as I would like. And re-examining it, I pretty much think I could probably make them even stronger. I could fix a few things that I was having some doubts about in the way that they are mounted in there. So I get another opportunity to improve on them. So that's probably a good thing. I also bought slightly thicker steel to make them out of. I think the ones I have are strong, but again, I had this lingering doubt that maybe the steel isn't quite thick enough and it might buckle or bend or flex too much. So I got some thicker steel, which will solve that problem. So yeah, I think today, sadly, I'm just going to be cutting out the motor mounts and throwing them away. Okay, I truly hate this, but I don't see any other way to get around it. Well, no turning back now. The motor mounts are out. Now I just need to grind down the rest of those welds. You can kind of see how ugly they were. So I think I can do a better job the second time around. Well, this is a nice grinding disc, but it's going to take some time. That's the way it goes. There we are. All grinded away. And I think that is pretty much it for today. That took a little time, but I don't know, that's just the only way to do it. So I'm gonna clean up and I'm gonna come back another day and start working on refabricating new mounts and try and get it in a good place where it'll fit with that eye booster. So I'll experiment a little bit with that next time. See you then.